raw babies sleep a lot less. My daughter's never been sick. I mean, go through the first 20 years and she's never been sick. All the creatures built like us eat 80, 10, 10, as do all the most long-lived people in the world, as do the world's best runners. Who's heard 8 to 12 glasses of water a day? Okay, well, what I hear is the standard Western diet is 8 to 12 glasses of water per day deficient.
Thanks so much, Doug. I'll actually just start with one question, and I know then there'll be a lot, so we can have it rolling this way. It's great, of course, but here we're in community, we're a little bit more intimate, so I feel we can even dive in a little bit more. I remember after our podcast last year, we had a discussion also about your daughter only eating raw, and I thought to myself, oh, that could have been another really amazing podcast. So for the people who don't know, I remember we're talking about your daughter. I think she only ate raw. She's like 20 or something. And do you want to share just a little bit about how it is to raise a child in such a different way in the world of today? And you live in the UK, which is a little matrixy, if you want my Ubundian opinion.
Well, I think raising a raw daughter or son or children is by far and away the easiest way there could ever be. My daughter's never been sick. I mean, go through the first 20 years and she's never been sick. Like that. Until you're a parent, how many parents in the room? A few parents, okay? Like, it's hard to imagine. It's impossible to imagine, I would say, how much care and concern a parent has for their children. When a child is even a little bit sick, it's already an emergency. So I didn't have to deal with those emergencies. We homeschooled our daughter, which has pros and cons, as everything has pros and cons. But it's a little frustrating homeschooling her because she learns so quickly. So I never get the joy of teaching because she figures it out as soon as I mean, the learning is like instantaneous. I get it. Okay, she just gets it so quick. There were moments when she was 5, 6, 7 and socializing that had moments of challenge for her, for sure. We raised her with some principles, like this is how we do things in our family. Other families do things the way they do it in their family. It's not anybody's right or wrong. It's just the way we do this in our family. And in fact, I remember one of my very close friends, I went to college with a guy you might have heard of named Bruce Willis. And when he wasn't famous at that time, but he and I dated the same girl. So Bruce and I weren't great friends. Well, that woman eventually became friends with Bruce's wife, Demi, and often when she was out doing massage, her daughter would spend time with Demi's kids. That was just a typical day for them. And one day, the woman didn't get to come home. The massage work continued extra late, and so the girl got invited to, the daughter, the 3-year-old daughter, got invited to stay at Demi's house for dinner. And they served whatever they served first, and they served whatever they served second, and then the third course came out, and it was chicken. And she just said, no thanks. And Demi said, well, how come you won't eat chicken? And she said, I'm not from a chicken-eating family. That was the exact quote. I'm not from a chicken-eating family. So kids get instilled in them principles that they understand very well. I mean, my daughter loves animals. Like, she would never harm a creature, ever. And And I did give her versions of what her friends had. Like I made candy bar kind of things that I could put in candy bar looking wrappers, and she could take it to her whatever club she was going to at the time. So she felt like she fit in. They all pulled out a bar, and so did she. And sometimes we even bought candy bars, like what do they call them, raw bars, or you see them in a health food store or a group. We'd buy the bar and then throw it out and keep the wrapper and put our own bars inside. And probably the most traumatic thing of all, I was telling Jeff about it, right? It was about the day that she was going to have a pizza contest with all the other kids in a girls' club that she was part of. And she went into tears, just totally broke down into tears because she said, "We don't eat pizza." And I said, "Of course we do. We eat pizza. I just never made it for you yet. You're only 8 years old. I haven't made you pizza yet." And she just lit up. "Oh, we do?" I said, "Yeah, I'll show you how to make it." So I showed her how to make a bunch of different pizzas, and she could choose which one she wanted to bring into the contest. And she brought hers in and then won the contest. The raw pizza beat out all the cooked pizzas. So she was very happy with that. And that kind of reinforcement, and just the fact that she could learn things so quick and socialize so well. I think the big thing really is, like an average 0 to 1 year old sleeps between 18 to 22 hours a day, right? And the average raw child at that age sleeps about 14 hours. The next year it goes down to about 18 hours for a 1 to 2 year old. They sleep a lot. They sleep hard, maybe 16 hours, but they sleep a lot. And Francesca's like barely sleeping 12, which meant that by the time she was 2, she'd been awake more than the average 3.5 to 4 year old. So her social skills developed so fast. So actually, I can't really say it was hard in any way. There's always question. I think every parent, I can only speak for myself, but I think every parent has to question, am I doing the best thing for my child? And I think the parent that fails in recognizing that every child is an experiment, people say, "Oh, you're experimenting on your child." I go, "Yes, I am. And so is everybody else. We're doing an experiment." The high-fat experiment definitely failed. The fast food experiment definitely failed. The 96 vaccines before you're 18 months old experiment definitely failed. But, we've tried a lot of experiments. It wasn't particularly hard. Oh, there was the time, right, when the authorities wanted to take my daughter away. That was kind of challenging for a little bit. It's a story for another day, but they didn't have a chance, and I made that clear, and they backed down. I won't bore you with all the details.
Thank you. That was already a powerful share. And who wants to ask a question?
Oh, one more thing. Oh, yeah. So she turned 20 before she ever dated. Just couldn't find anybody that was even remotely interesting. And when she turned 20, she met this boy who's 25 years old, who's never dated, never had a girlfriend, which is, I think, pretty rare already. Matrix or not. And he's a vegan boy, raised vegan. And now he comes over to our house a lot, and he's gone raw. And he did it for a couple weeks, and then went home again and went right back to his mom's cooked food. And after 2 days, he says, "I can't do this, Mom. I got to be raw. I just got to be raw. So now his brother's gone raw, his mother's gone raw, his father's gone raw. So it's not that hard raising a raw child.
Maybe on the subject of like raising a family and holding integrity, I guess long term, a space for your child growing up. Is there any body of knowledge or any epistemology or religion, something you like go to be able to, I guess, have consistency or have them be independent from asking you how to behave or how to live or what choices to make?
My wife and I are pretty aligned with the idea that nature provides all the guideline I need to see. Every creature eats raw food on the whole planet. Every creature eats a species-specific diet. Every creature eats one food at a time when they're hungry till they're full. Every creature goes to sleep when they're tired and moves around when they feel a bit active or frisky or energetic. There's, like, the models are all out there, and all the animals that are anatomically and physiologically built even similar to us, basically anthropoid primates, monkeys without tails, they all eat 80-10-10. They all eat fruits and vegetables. It's more than enough to keep me going. They're all extraordinarily fit. It's just part of life. So it's that, I'd say it's that more than, oh, this person or that person, this guru or that leader. It's not so much that. I like being an independent thinker, but the model in nature is profound and worthy of respect.
Good. Thank you so much for being here. I love the 80-10-10. The times that I've done, I understand this is like a fully holistic, it's the sleep, it's the thinking, what you drink, it's all what you feed your body with. So when I've done the 80-10-10, I go so extremely skinny, I lose a lot of weight, and people tend to tell me I look sick or I'm overdoing my fasting, or so then I
have any skinny people told you that? Just out of curiosity.
The weight drops on the scale, so then I add more fat glucose to. Is that something that regulates after a time, or should I just
That's a valid question. Can I start by asking a question? Well, let's engage. Let's pretend we're all friends here. Might as well, right? How many of you know, like, at least 5 or 6 people in the room? Just out of curiosity. Okay, so there's a lot of people that don't know even hardly any. Because I see 1 or 2 faces I know, and the rest is I'm looking forward to. Let's just be friends,
Sure.
Okay? Okay. And the reason I say that is I found out when I was in 4th grade. I was 8 years old. I found out when I was 8 years old that I'm petrified of speaking in public. I would fake having laryngitis rather than give a book report to my 20 classmates. I was petrified to stand up in front of them, and remained so throughout my entire childhood, all my school years. Never imagining in a lifetime that I would make a career as a public speaker, that I would train as a public speaker. Well, I'm a lot more comfortable speaking to friends. So let me ask a question rather than start with an answer.
Sure.
What does a cow eat?
That's what I tell all my friends. What does gorilla eat? It's the
Well, what
strongest.
does a cow eat?
It's grass.
Oh, a cow eats grass. What does a little, relatively small cow eat?
Milk.
No, not a baby, just grass still, yeah?
Yeah.
And how about a great big cow?
Yeah. I guess the size doesn't matter. You just eat
They
grass.
just eat grass.
Yeah.
Probably more grass. How about a cow that's in a little pasture? What does they eat?
Little grass.
And how about in a great big pasture on a super steep hill where they've got to work hard all day long? Even more grass. Like, I don't change the caloronutrient ratio and say, oh, I'm going to eat more fat and more fat. I'm going to eat more fruit. Fruit is fuel. You're telling me you're running low on fuel and losing weight accordingly. Eat more fuel. Fat is insulation. Its function in the human body is insulation. When I sit down, my fat insulates the shock. My nervous system sends electricity all through my body, and it's directed because the nerves themselves are lined with a fatty coating called myelin that keeps the electrical message going where it's supposed to go. It insulates us from hot and cold. It insulates in every single way. Yes, you can eat more fat, but there will always be predictable health decline. No, it's not going to start on the first day or the second day. It's not going to be noticeable. You're not going to get a heart attack from 3 days of eating high fat. But the predictable health decline, since health, as it's already been said a couple times today, my health is a cumulative journey. So at this point, I have the option of accumulating more health or just letting it start dissipating. And every time I raise the fat in my diet, I'm dissipating my own health. I have, for the experiment, allowed my weight to rise up to about 77 kilos. I'm currently about 64. So I went from 64 to 77 just to see and show that it could be done. And in fact, to find out how it would affect my powerlifting, because I was kind of getting into powerlifting. It's a new sport for me. I've only been at it for about 16 years now. And I finally got to a point where I was lifting really well, and I just couldn't stand the feel or the look of being 77 kilos. And I said, this has got to go. And the only change I made in my diet was not fat related. That 80-10-10 is sacred. I just started eating, instead of eating 15 bananas, I started eating 14 or 13. It's still pretty darn satisfying. And take the last 2 bananas and eat a cucumber instead. Just replace. So in fact, to lose weight, I eat more vegetables, more volume, fewer calories. And yes, anytime a person goes raw, almost every time a person goes raw, they're first going to lose more weight than they intended. That is very common, that they go, if they stay committed, when they stay committed, they're going to go drop, and all of a sudden they're losing way more than they ever had allowed for. And what they find out, is different than what they tell me. I tell them something different than they tell me. What they tell me is, I went raw and I lost all my muscle. And I tell them, you went raw and found out you didn't have as much muscle as you were giving yourself credit for. And some guys are big and some not, and that's not, I don't care. I'm not into big. Some people are, and that makes the world go round. But
muscles are made in gym, not the kitchen, so you gotta work hard for it.
There's no diet that causes muscle loss. Okay, so when people come to me and say, I went raw, I lost all my muscle, I go, well, that's physiologically impossible. You've just broken new ground, because that's never happened in history. There's no diet results in muscle loss. Even the myth that cardio drives muscle off a weightlifter's body, that's totally mythical. Doing cardio takes time and energy, and all of a sudden there's not so much time for lifting, and so the gains are diminished. The body's always trying to give abilities that are in demand. So a runner looks like a runner, and a tennis player looks like a tennis player, and a dancer looks like a dancer. Heck, the really dedicated yoga women, you can just see them coming and go, that's a yogini. They move like a yogini, and you can just see it coming. Dancers flow like water. It's just crazy. So it may have just been early days where you got down lower than you wanted to get, and then you'd figure it back out again. Trust that 80-10-10. That's the nature. That's the nature's model. That's the way God set it up for us. That's all the creatures built like us eat 80-10-10, as do all the most long-lived people in the world, as do the world's best runners, all the Kenyan runners, all the, surprisingly, most, I can't say all, but most of the top athletes in every sport. And no, none of them are doing the 80-10-10 diet, and none of them are eating raw food. I'm not saying that, okay? The Kenyans eat rice and corn, but they're eating it in 80-10-10 ratio in order to have 9 of the 10 fastest marathons ever run in history. That's what they do. They're not vegan, they're not raw, but they're eating 80-10-10. There's, as every creature built like us does. So bear with it a little longer.
Eat more bananas. Thanks.
Yeah. So if I was a little car or a big car, I'd put in the same fuel. And if I drive a little bit of miles or a lot of miles, I put in the same fuel. The fuel doesn't change.
Yeah. It makes sense. Just it's the body's response, I guess.
Gotta have a little bit of. Gotta have about this much. What's gonna happen when I let go?
It's gonna drop down.
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I should try again. Oh, well, maybe next time. Like, it's going to drop every time. It's 80-10-10 every single time.
Yeah.
It just is. I didn't invent it. All I did was write about it. I studied anatomy and physiology to understand it. And the pursuit, for me, the pursuit was coming up with the science and the vocabulary for explaining it to other people. So I can now tell you when they say, how come I don't eat cooked food? Well, I tend to spend most of my time talking about what I'm in favor of rather than what I'm against. But I also know why I don't eat cooked foods. I know about tumorigens and tremorigens and teratogens and mutagens and carcinogens are in all cooked food. Yes, to various degrees, depending on how much I cook and how long I cook and at what temperature I cook and whether it's dry or wet and on through the variations, whether there's oxygen involved in the cooking or whether it's a reduction involved in the cooking. But there's cancer-causing agents, aging agents, tremorigens. Oh, anybody want the tremorigens? Let's add some extra. It's nuts. And the last one, the teratogens, don't affect your health in any way that we can tell. They affect your offspring's health adversely. So, there's too many reasons. I can't, me personally, I just can't justify it. I can't go back to cooked. I don't even want to, but I couldn't if I wanted to. Not and look myself in the eye.
So 100% raw for sure. I'm with you on that.
100% raw, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I have a good friend, Larry, who's 100% raw 80% of the time.
It's 100 here. Another question then. I know you said you didn't invent it. You know, Hippocrates, Brian, and
Yeah, I
Mary.
used to teach there.
Yeah, so they are zero fruits, like zero fruits, basically. I know it's they cure probably more sicker people and people with.
Well, I can't say they eat zero fruit. I don't know what anybody else eats except for me. So I can't say what they eat. I know what they serve. Like I say, I used to teach there. I used to teach physiology at the Hippocrates Center. So, but there's probably a question.
Just in the raw community, there's like still so many different, to, to, to follow or to choose, which can be a little bit confusing sometimes.
I don't find it confusing.
80-10-10, of course not.
Well, I don't find it confusing. But I'll say this. A couple of words have been thrown around already this morning. Afternoon, I guess it is. It's morning somewhere. A couple phrases came out that I wanted to talk about anyway. What I teach is called health. Right? The science is known as hygiene. That's the science of human health. There's only two philosophies really about health. There's one that's called a medical philosophy, and there's one that's called a health philosophy, and those are the only two approaches that exist. Now, within the medical community, there are various disciplines. So there's traditional Western medicine, there's other kinds of medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, there's alternative medicine. It's still medicine, right? Oh, and again, I'm not looking to step on toes, but I'm going to talk to you straight from my heart, and my heart always speaks truth. There's medicine and there's hygiene. So I chose hygiene when I became aware of it. Said, this makes more sense. The medical approach says, for instance, just say no to drugs because drugs will make you sick. Unless you are sick, in which case say yes to drugs because the drugs will make you well. And I go, that's tough for me to swallow. Like, drugs must be really smart to be able to tell whether I'm sick or well. And it's become such a commonly accepted point of view that I hear it about milk. Like, milk's really good for you. Kids should drink lots of milk unless they're sick, in which case they shouldn't drink milk because it'll make them congested. And I'm thinking, how does the milk tell whether it's supposed to make you healthy or make you congested? Whereas in the science of health, in hygiene, I say that the substances and the forces and the influences and the conditions that result in health when I'm healthy, like they sustain my ongoing accumulation of health when I'm healthy, are identical to the substance, forces, influence, and conditions that I would use when I wasn't feeling my best and I want to regain my high level of feeling. Unchanged, identical. The substances, forces, influence, and conditions remain 100% identical. Always, every second of every day, being customed, adjusted to my needs at that time. So when I'm really tired, I need more sleep. And when I've had too much people, I need a little more privacy. But we all need social interaction. That's a fact of life. And I need movement, but there's times I need less movement or more movement. And there's times I need more food and times I need less food. And on through the things that are essentially the requirements of functionality, the requirements of health. And these things never change, just the proportions change. Compared to, take drugs when I'm sick. Oh, actually, I've got this terrible headache. Maybe what I'm suffering from is a shortage of acupuncture needles in my shoulder. Well, the acupuncture needles in the shoulder might stop the headache, but I don't have a headache because of a shortage of needles. It just can't possibly be. So for me, it made no sense. And I started, when this clarity hit me, really, like it's a ton of bricks to go, wow, there's health and there's everything else. And so within the raw food community, there's health and there's everything else. And I'm going to talk about what I'm in favor of. I'm going to talk about health. And I'll never talk badly about anybody else or anything else, with one exception, which is if somebody comes to me in private and asks about something that I think I would endanger them by remaining silent. If I'm going to cause someone danger by my silence, then I might put out at least a warning. But otherwise, I'm going to talk about what I'm in favor of. But having this understanding that hygiene, not only, it's the definition, it is health. And hygienic living results in health, made all the other things in the raw food community much more crystal clear about where they were coming from. And in the same way that some raw food restaurants serve raw food and some serve stuff that's barely food, but it's spiced up enough to be really stimulating. And some staunch raw fooders would say, I can't even eat there. You know, but they cater to a market. Bless them, they cater to a market. And some people will say, step by step by step by step, and we're getting them going in the right direction, and that's fine for some people. I work with the middle of the bullseye. My job is defining the middle of the bullseye so clearly that when I take your hand and say, come on, let's go that way, I can take you at your speed. That's my job, is to recognize and help you go at your speed, but straight to the target, rather than my route, which was 17 years of going standard American diet and starting to eat from health food stores and eventually becoming macroneurotic and then vegetarian and orthomolecular and trying all these different things and eventually going vegan and thinking I'd arrived every single time, and before I even found raw food, let alone 7 more years before I figured out 80-10-10. So if you want, I'll take you down the 17-year route. But if you need to go to the bathroom, do you really want to go the 17-year route and you're going to end up at the bathroom, or do you just want the shortcut? Shortcut. So I want the most direct route. Let's get straight to it.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, let's have some fun.
Yay.
Hello. So you mentioned about the sleep and how your daughter was sleeping less than the average child.
Yeah, by like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy being a parent.
I find that, like, even with myself, I'm requiring a lot less sleep. But I don't know, is that like even a healthy thing? Because I was taught that we need to sleep more so we can heal. And like, from my workplace, like the more someone sleeps, the more they recover and they heal from anything. And if someone wants to get healthier, wouldn't it make sense to sleep more or like better quality? Because I also noticed, like with raw foods, you go to the bathroom even like a lot more regularly and waking up to pee during the night as well.
That must be your prostate giving you trouble.
No. Yeah, I just wanted to know.
Okay,
your
no, that's
thoughts on
great.
that.
That's great. That's a super good question, and it opens up a door right back. Shari knows where I'm going already. So, how many people here got interested in health before they got interested in raw food? Show of hands. Like that's pretty much everybody, right? And how many people here heard about whole foods before you heard about raw foods? Pretty much everybody. And how many people here went the kind of a roundabout route? Maybe it wasn't the whole route that I went on, but they didn't take the shortcut from cooked to 100% raw vegan. Yeah, pretty much everybody. It's a long, hard road. And along the way, how many people learned a whole bunch of health information? Like you guys are walking encyclopedias of health information. And I'm sitting up here with the responsibility of telling you that most of it is trash. Okay, now in my house, there's trash and there's treasure, and then a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not sure whether it's trash or treasure. But I could definitely throw out the trash. I mean, I take trash out every day. And there's treasures, like don't be throwing that in the trash. I mean, so in my head, I got a bunch of trash and I got a bunch of treasure, and the trash I got to take out. And then there's a bunch of undecided stuff that I don't really know yet whether it's trash or treasure. So I'll give you an example. 8 to 12 glasses of water a day. Who's heard 8 to 12 glasses of water a day? Okay, well, what are we really being told? Or what I hear is the standard Western diet is 8 to 12 glasses of water per day deficient. And in order to just up the water to normal levels, a person on a standard Western diet has to drink an additional 8 to 12 glasses of water per day. Will that make up for the nutrient deficiencies in their diet? No. Will that make up for the carcinogens, mutagens, teratogens, tremerogens? No. Will that make up for the anti-nutrients or the anti-vitamins that are created in the cooking of food? No. But it will at least make up for the water. It turns out human beings typically need a lot less sleep than people who are drugged at every meal and are trying to recover from the drugging. Babies sleep a ton because they're on food that's drugging them. And raw babies sleep a lot less. Just so much less. In my life, I sleep about 2 hours a night less than I used to on cooked food. That's a big deal. Like people say to me, Doug, how are you so productive? And I go, well, let's see, 2 hours a night times 350 nights a year, that's 700 hours. And then the average person's sick about 18 days a year. I'm pretty much just never sick. So that's 18 days times the last 40 something years. And it adds up to a lot of days, right? Like that's just a ton of days. And a lot of the health knowledge was just designed to help people on a standard Western diet minimize the damage. It was totally damage control. And we start thinking, oh, that's normal. And when I changed my diet, nobody said, oh, I can let go of all that information. I thought that was perfectly valid health information. No, it wasn't perfectly valid health information. It was triage for people who are on a program that's unsustainable. So I made a list of some of these things. I'll see if I can I can maybe even find it on my phone. That would be cool. Give me 5 seconds. Let's see. Can I? Yeah, it only took that long. So here's some things that are common health knowledge that absolutely positively do not apply on an 80-10-10 raw vegan program. They just do not apply. So I call this 811 DNA. Right? And yes, according to the world's most famous geneticists and biologists like Bruce Lipton, who talk about like, well, yes, you know, you can actually affect your DNA. You can affect it by the way you speak. I can affect my own DNA with my thoughts, not only with my actions and my food choices, but just what I speak to myself. My brain believes whatever it hears repeatedly. So I can affect my own DNA. An 811, okay, has an effect on my DNA, but this has to do with does not apply rather than deoxyribonucleic. Okay, so here's some things. Number 1, who's heard of intermittent fasting and all the health benefits of intermittent fasting? Well, who? You mean, oh, eat a mono meal until I'm satisfied and then don't eat again in between meals? Is that what they're calling intermittent fasting? Not eating in between meals. Like just eat a satiating meal. And they're calling that, oh, there's health benefits. We're not cows. We're not set up for grazing. We're meal eaters. Our digestive system requires a rest in between each meal for the digestive system to function properly. Intermittent fasting, sorry, is not a health practice, and it's a bastardization of terms. Fasting is only marginally related to not eating. Fasting is a state of deep rest, deeper than typical sleep, because the digestive system shuts down. So we now have physiologic rest. The muscles get into a much deeper state of rest than happens in just a first night of sleep. The sensory system is in a position where it's completely comfortable. So I'm not hearing road noise. I'm not hearing machinery. I'm deep rest. Lots of bird songs, flower smells, and green color. Like there's a lot of good in Bali, right? Like that's how people end up here. It's like, wow, it's paradisical. Yeah, to the senses. And then there's emotional rest also has to happen in order to get into a state that I would call fasting. Until it gets that deep, so I've got physical rest, physiologic rest, sensory rest, and emotional rest, which means somebody's going, don't you worry about a thing, honey. We'll take care of everything for you. Are you comfortable? Yeah, I'm comfortable. Okay, well, do you have any worries or concerns? No, actually. Is everything okay? Yeah, it's all good. Are you good to fast for another 12 hours? Yeah. Longest fast I've ever supervised is 1 day at a time for like 8 weeks in a row, but 1 day at a time. I never take on more than 1 day at a time with anybody because I'm in the present with them. The idea that intermittent fasting, it's not fasting. It's a silly thing. And why did that become so popular? Well, it became popular in order to try to do damage control to a diet that can't possibly work. The standard Western diet can't possibly work. So at least maybe we can interest people to only eat at meal times instead of constantly. Since the food and the food chemists figured out how to make food addictive, now people are just pretty much always eating. drove past some fast food place that was advertising a meal between 12 midnight and 3 a.m. And they called it the fourth meal. And that's what they're promoting, the fourth meal. And you're like, you're up against a lot. Intermittent fasting it just doesn't apply on 80-10-10. The meals are satiating, and in between meals, I'm perfectly content to just go through my business. I'll speed up with some of them, but this one's been dear to my heart for a long time. The idea that what's in a name. I love the idea of what's in a name. Like, if I call something something, does that make it so? And again, Jeff and I were talking about it last night, I think. Is it yoga just because I call it yoga? It's a philosophical question.
Union?
Is it yoga automatically just because I call it yoga at the end of it? Like, full contact, last man standing, cage, yoga. Would that be yoga? Right? My first experience of doing hot yoga was militaristic stretching in a very hot room. It had nothing to do with yoga. It was militaristic stretching in a very hot room. And I enjoyed militaristic stretching in a very hot room. And they even included some gymnastics poses and some traditional yoga poses. That didn't make it yoga. Sorry. My opinion. And I could be wrong. When I take a whole food and I dehydrate it and I powder it and I put it in a glass bottle and let it age for a while and then sell it to somebody. Let's start with celery. I take some celery and I eat some celery. Yay, I love that. Now I take some celery and I grind it up and then I dry it and then I grind it into powder and I put it in a jar. And I now sell ground powdered celery. It's no longer whole food because the water's missing and whatever else got lost in the dehydrating process is missing. For sure, various nutrients oxidized and were reduced. There's no addition of nutrients. There was no concentration. It's just got less nutrients than it used to have when it was fresh celery. In fact, show of hands, how many people think whole food is more nutritious than refined food? Okay, so therefore, whole celery is more nutritious than refined celery powder. Has to be. If you make $1 an hour doing something for somebody, and I say, hey, look, I'll hire you for 75 cents an hour instead. Would that be a great deal for you? No. Would you say, hey, I'm getting more? 75, that's more than 100. No. Yet somehow, supplement salesmen have said, I'm going to supplement your diet with this thing that has less nutrients in it than what you usually eat. What's in a name? Well, we call it a supplement. Turns out a supplement could be a verb or it could be a noun, and people who know enough grammar could understand the question, which do you think? Do you think noun or verb when you hear the word supplement? Most people hear verb. It's what the thing does, not what the thing is. So my suggestion is let's just change the name. Let's change it to detriment. Hey, I've got this crystal white pharmaceutical quality pure powder. It's a nutritional detriment. Would you like some? No, nobody wants a detriment, and everybody wants a supplement. And it's the same stuff either way, just a different name. There's no way in the world supplements supplement your diet. They can't be more nutritious than the whole food they came from. Like, oh yeah, I'm just taking it for insurance. Come on.
Doug, just quickly on this, I would assume those companies would say, yeah, but with our powder, you can have the equivalent of like 100 kilo of celery. That
No, you
wouldn't eat.
cannot.
Okay.
Because you have to add water and it takes up a whole lot of space. Either they reduce the amount of space required by also removing the fiber, which is an essential nutrient. Looking at any nutrition book, fiber is an essential nutrient. So you either have to add the fiber back in. This is what they tell the mainstream people. Drink juices at night. They're really good for you. But add fiber to your breakfast cereal. That's really good for you. Like, which way is it? How about just eat whole food? It's really good for you. But they'll say, oh, yes, but you could eat so much of it. Well, A, no, you couldn't possibly afford to eat so much of it. You eat it by the teaspoon. And B, as soon as you add water to it, it bulks back up. You couldn't eat like a bottle of celery powder. My God, your belly would get so huge. No, it can't be done, nor could it be afforded. It's not a real, yes, they will say whatever they can say. They will say, well, you know, the soil's been depleted, and so we sell you this stuff to make up for that. I'm going, where did they grow their stuff? Didn't they grow their stuff on depleted soil? And if they didn't, where did they get the soil? The nerve of them not teaching farmers. Why aren't they just teaching farmers how to make exquisite soil? Who do you think has a better shot of knowing how to make exquisite soil? Farmers or supplement salesmen? I'm going to go with the farmers. They've been doing it forever. And the pharmaceutical companies and the supplement companies, you know, those are the same companies, right? I should believe that they know how to make they know how to make cheap powder. And they're going to sell it to me with great marketing. And they'll try. So 10,000 sick people go to a couple of thousand doctors and get tested because they've got this, that, or the other problem. And along the way, certain standards are realized, like 10,000 sick people, they all have a blood pressure of about da-da-da. Or they all have a B12 level of about da-da-da. Or they all have a calcium level of about da-da-da. Those are called normal blood values. As if there was anything normal in the blood of a couple 100,000 sick people. Why don't they check the blood values of a couple 100,000 super healthy people? 2 reasons. 1, healthy people avoid doctors like plague. They can't even find healthy people to test. And it's really hard to find 100,000 healthy people. They're few and far between super healthy people. Do I aspire to normal blood values? No. Yes, did I have to learn some stuff? I have an advantage as a doctor knowing where and when I should be concerned when it's not the same values as everybody else. But there's no way I want the same values as everybody else. I want my unique values. How do I determine a healthy B12 level in a society that supplements with B12 in their food at breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Every meal has B12 added to the bread or to the pasta or to the breakfast cereal or to the whatever else they're eating. The animals they eat have been injected with B12. And then we're going to say, oh, and the normal level is to be at this point. Well, it's only normal if you're on that diet. When you stop that diet, B12 levels by definition, have to be something else. I'm not supplementing at every meal. I stopped that as soon as I became a vegan, let alone once I went raw vegan, stopped all starches. Like starches were the worst thing that was ever introduced to humanity because starches are used for punishment, right? Bread and water, put them on bread and water for 30 days. It's like starches are punishment. There's no vitamin C. Linus Pauling said vitamin C is maybe the most important nutrient to human beings. Because it's water soluble, you blow through it in a couple hours, you need more. Like keep reintroducing vitamin C. He said that eat enough vitamin C and you become bulletproof. Cannot get sick. That's pretty wild endorsement. So it take people off vitamin C, just put them on starch. No, I'm not going for it. Sorry.
But sweet potato and regular potato, I thought they also contain vitamin C.
They did, until you cooked them.
Oh, okay.
Vitamin C is exceptionally heat intolerant. You're right. There's some tubers, which are a bit starchy as well. If go back just a little bit to where you didn't know where to look for sweet potatoes, and you and I are walking through a field somewhere, would you ever know there were sweet potatoes underground?
I know that they're a vine and they spread.
They're a vine.
If I never learned
So
that, then I wouldn't know.
You'd have to know what those leaves look like to recognize you were walking above sweet potatoes. I've grown them back in my early days. I could walk through a field of carrots and never even know there were carrots. I could walk through a field of potatoes or sweet potatoes and never know they were there. Pigs would smell it and root for it. That's natural for a pig to root, not for a human. I'm looking up in the trees looking for bright colors. I'm looking for Christmas trees. When I see a tree full of lychee, it's a Christmas tree. I see a tree full of mango, I'm moving in. I'm going to camp under that mango tree. I just found home, right? Don't go camp under the durian tree. That's dangerous. Anyway, there's a whole lot of misconception, and I'm just going to blow through some of them rather than spend a long time. Normal bone density. Well, how is normal bone density determined? Same way. Take 100,000 sick women who never develop proper bone density in the first place because they participate, as did each and every person here, most likely, certainly me as a child, participated in 9 out of the 10 known causes of osteoporosis or weak bone density. The only one I didn't do was prescription drugs. I waited until I was a teenager for that. But in those first 10 years, I participated in 9 out of 10 of the causes of weak bone density. And yes, I was an athlete, and so my bones developed a bit, but they never developed like they could have or would have. Nothing like what my daughter's bone density development was, because she never ate all that crap and never did all those things. She never ate beans. She never ate starches. She never ate soda. She never had meat. She never had dairy. She never did all that stuff that just destroys bone density. And then never had prescription drugs. So by the time a person's 30 and we say, this is as dense as your bones are going to get, which isn't true. It's probably the end for most people of being more active than you used to be. Most people's activity level tails off or tops out somewhere around 30 and then starts spinning down. But the average 30-year-old has what I would consider to be exceptionally poor bone density, and that's called normal. That's the standard. So The range for bone density goes from -5, in which case you're due for spontaneous bone fractures. From -5, it goes all the way up to 50. That's the range. What would you think would be considered a good number to shoot for? The range is -5 to 50. What would you aim for? 20 seems reasonable. What would you aim for? 28? That's like middle of the pack. You really just want to be average. Ah, better. What was that number? 45? 50. Oh, 50 is good. There's plenty of people walking around with 50 bone density. It's achievable. And what do the medical people say is good bone density? Anything above -1 to 0. They just never see anything more than that. -1 to 0. On a scale of -5 to 50, they're telling you to aim for -1. And I'm thinking, the nerve, just the nerve. And yet, they can't ask anybody to aim for more than that without saying, something's got to change in your lifestyle. And there's no diet going to rebuild your bone density, by the way. Going raw vegan isn't going to do the job. They've still got to participate in what causes bones to get stronger. Anybody know what causes bones to get stronger? Impact causes bones to get stronger. That's one way. There are ways to make it happen. The thing that causes bones to get stronger is having stronger muscles. Muscles pull on bones. Impact creates a lot of pull on the bones in a sudden motion. Anything that results in stronger muscles results in stronger bones. Just like that. So, who would like to be stronger 5 or 10 years from now? Who's doing anything about it? So, can I ask, what are you doing about it? No, any kind of sports won't do it. Pretty much any kind of sports won't. And what kind of weightlifting? Can you describe it? 4 sets of what? 4 sets of 220. And how many reps are in the sets? 4 sets, 4 sets. That's strength training. Well done. Anybody else doing strength training so they're going to be stronger 10 years from now? What's your system? Calisthenics. So give me an example of some calisthenic that you do. I'm sorry? Yeah, name a calisthenic that you do. And how many reps do you do of some calisthenic or another? 3 and 12? Did I hear you right? 3 sets of 12 reps. Yeah, so that's not strength training. Strength training is always going to be, I can make 1 rep, but I can barely make 5. If it goes beyond 5, you left strength training in the dust somewhere else. So, how many people tell me that they're on a raw diet because they say so? They're on a raw diet. I met this guy at a festival one time who told me he was a fruitarian. I've always been interested, because I never use that word. I always say frugivore. But he said he was a fruitarian. I said, oh, tell me about your fruitarian. He goes, well, I just eat fruit. You go, well, I want to be really clear, because there's fruit in the kitchen, and then there's fruit in a botany book, and they're 2 different things. Like in a botany book, a cucumber is a fruit. But in the kitchen, a cucumber is definitely a vegetable. Do you include things like cucumbers and tomatoes and okra and pepper and zucchini? He goes, yeah, for sure. And I said, do you include like lettuce or celery? He goes, well, yeah. And I go, well, how do you figure that lettuce is a fruit? And he said, well, I'm a fruitarian, so anything I eat is fruit. I only eat fruit. Does that seem a little odd? Or was it just me? Is that okay? Would you accept that? It doesn't bother you that somebody calls lettuce a fruit just because they're a fruitarian, therefore when they eat it, it's fruit? That doesn't bother you? Yeah, it bothers me too. It bothers me when people telling me they're strength training when what they're doing isn't strength training, but the reason it bothers me is because they're misleading themselves. And when I'm misleading myself, I'm going to get different results than the ones I'm aiming for. And then I'm going to be disappointed, and I'm going to go, how come I did all the right things and the wrong things happened? That goes against the law. If I do the right things should happen. Right? I've certainly met plenty of people who tell me they're raw foodists, but they love nama shoyu. And I go, well, nama shoyu's not raw. And they go, yeah, nama shoyu isn't cooked. And I go, you're absolutely right. Nama shoyu is not cooked. The wheat is cooked, and the soy is cooked, and then they take the cooked wheat and the cooked soy and they mix them together and they don't cook it again. And that's what nama shoyu is. It's wheat and soy. Both have been cooked, but they didn't cook it again. I've had people tell me bread is raw unless they toast it. Going like, come on, really? I have people tell me that they're on a 100% raw food diet, including nutritional yeast. Anybody ever try nutritional yeast? Anybody ever notice the addictive qualities of nutritional yeast? Yeah, it's not raw. It's toasted, right? It's dried commercially. It's not raw. And when I heat things, I change the nature of the proteins in a way that's called denaturing the proteins. And those denatured proteins, essentially what they have is cross-linked bonds. They've changed. And human beings contain no digestive enzymes for cross-linked bonds. We don't recognize them. Well, we do recognize them. We recognize them as foreign invaders, and so we attack them instead with something called white blood cells. And when I look under a microscope at the blood, it looks like, you heard of red tide that goes out in the oceans? It looks like a white tide in the blood. It's actually called a white tide by the microscopists. And that's considered normal. It happens after every meal, therefore it's normal. Except it doesn't happen at all after a raw food meal. So basically what they've done is they've normalized the consumption of cooked food and taken all this health advice that somebody never bothered to tell anybody, like, don't carry that stuff into the raw arena because it no longer applies. It's not just that you get to feel better. You can drop a whole lot of concerns. So normal bone density, normal blood work. Oh my God, it's just so much. Normal vital signs. Like the average raw fooder's body temperature is so much less than the average Western world person. The average cooked food eater. Anybody in part of their raw experience, did you notice you got cold wherever you went? For a while, anyway, until your body adapted to this new core functioning temperature. Like, oh man, it's cold there. Because the world is set up to make cook fooders comfortable. You walk into a restaurant and it's freezing. You know, go to a movie theater and it's freezing. It's like, why? Well, obese people are really hot. They're really hot. I don't mean that in a good way. Oh no, what happened? Oh, I mean, I've lost it all. Oh, please. It's gone. Ah. Oh no. Now I'll never find it again. No. Yeah, I do. That would be terrible if I had to do that. Really? Nope. They're gone. Can anybody? Do you think I could find it? Gone. There are literally dozens. I've made a short list. There are literally dozens, from how much sleep is normal, which is how this whole thing started. Like, how much sleep do you need? How much sleep do I need? I can tell you in one word.
Enough?
Exactly the right word. I need enough. Anytime I feel like rolling over rather than rolling out, I haven't had enough sleep. Anything less than enough also has a definition. It's called not enough. How much sleep did you get? Not enough. Insufficient, however you want to say it. And how much does a person need? Enough. And on the days of, okay, Shari flew home last year from Bali and slept for how long when you got home? 3 days of sleep. Yes, it was a super hard trip home. I don't know, 72 hours or something of travel. It was just nuts, but needed a ton of sleep afterwards. I went for a 4-day bicycle ride, and every night we just sat up and sang songs and played guitar, sitting around fire. It was so exciting, and just kept doing it, and rode 300 miles. It wasn't a big deal, but it was before panniers. I mean, I was carrying everything on my backpack. It was stupid. But then I went home and I slept for 36 hours nonstop. I remember I got up once and went to the bathroom. I think that was it. But boom, just sleep right through. There's times I need more sleep. When I'm super physically active, I need more sleep. I need more food. I need more time to digest more food. It takes more energy digesting. I need more rest. I take pro athletes. When I'm working with pro athletes, when they're doing my A program, they're sleeping 12 hours a day. And we go, oh no, they're pro athletes. They're out partying all the time. And no. The pro athletes are training hard and sleeping. The world's best runners, the Kenyan running team, they rest and sleep 16 hours a day in order to run that fast. The rest of the 8 hours, they're either eating or running. That's their life. Rest, sleep, run, eat. Pretty much in that order. Run, eat, rest, repeat. 12 hours a day, phenomenal for a pro athlete, but that's a decadent life in many ways. I think, well, Bali life is a pretty decadent life.
Yeah, hello. I just wondering if you see any difference between men and women in this type of...
Man, do I ever see a difference between men and women. Are you having trouble with that distinction?
I mean, in the diet and the weightlifting and...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I guess 8-1-1 is the same, but I'm thinking like maximum strength. You were talking about like the maximum for repetitions.
So, I forget. What does a cow eat? What's a and a boy cow? And a girl cow? And a boy lion?
But that's the food. But for example, the weightlifting and the other parts of the lifestyle.
So there's this girl. There's several women I know of, and a few I've met, who would pretty much humble any man in terms of strength.
Yeah.
Women they're incredible, and I hold in very high regard. But we have different physique, okay, and the mechanics of that allow for that 220 bench press, which is a good mark. You're not going to see a lot of ladies doing that. And the typical averages are a little higher for men than for women at any weight. But in average, men are a third bigger, right? Or depends on how you do your math. The average lady being 120, the average guy being 180. That ratio carries through into lifting or into other strength, other exertions. But there's a lady named Steffi Cohn who I like her attitude. Her attitude is limits don't exist. So she doesn't put herself at a restriction and say, well, I only weigh 123 pounds, therefore I can only lift whatever, right? And her whatever is 525 pounds. It's more than 4 times her own body weight in one lift. Her name is Steffi Cohn, Stefi, and Cohen in kind of a traditional Cohen. There's another lifter named Cohn who's the best power lifter ever, but he's Ed Cohn, and I believe he's Coan.
So what you're saying in general, that it's this type of lifestyle, or I don't know what to call it, because I'm new to this, so sorry if I'm saying the wrong terms. I'm just wondering, women and men are a little bit different in composition of like fat distribution, and we are carrying out the child and all of these things. So I'm just wondering, you're saying that we are following the same type of diet and the same type of weightlifting and the same type of lifestyle, if I can say it in that sense.
What is your name?
Martina.
Martina, thank you. You have opened the door to a whole new conversation. So, I've been doing public speaking for 45 years. And a bit more, but for 45 years pretty seriously. I was trained in school and then went through an organization for 5 years called the National Speakers Association, where I learned to be a professional speaker. And there's a big difference between talking and speaking. Okay. So, and for 45 years, I've been giving presentations and having some effect here and there. Before learning from a mentor that what was really more important than me giving presentations was my audience hearing what I said. I just assumed everybody heard what I said. And there's really only one way to know for sure if I was heard. And that's me asking, what did you hear? Please copy back to me what I said. So it's lovely hearing Martina's interpretation of what she thinks I meant, right? But that's quite different than my words, because I never said any of those things, did I? I never said anything about women carrying babies and fat distribution or any of that stuff, at least not yet. I know it's there. Bless the differences. But so I would say for women, getting stronger is as important as it is for men. What did you hear, Martina?
Yeah, definitely. It's important. I'm just, maybe I'm not following. If it's the same,
Martina.
If it's the same.
Verbatim.
Huh?
Verbatim. Exactly word for word. What did you hear me just say? Can anybody help her? What did you hear me say? You take the mic and go ahead. Go ahead, take the mic.
Maybe not exact words.
Maybe. Maybe yes.
For women, it is as same important as for men to get strength.
Okay, I'd say that's at least 70% accurate. Anybody else want to have a go? I'm going to tell you this is easy as important as raw food. Nobody else? I'll tell you what, pick somebody. You just pick somebody at random. Ask them what they heard you just say. Seriously. Give them a mic. Because you just spoke, did you not? Here's the point. You just spoke. At least I heard some words. And you think everybody heard you. Otherwise, what was the point? What did you hear? Ooh.
She said it different than you, that's for
Yes,
sure. But
yes.
I'm just reminding what she said. That strength is as important for women as for men.
How accurate was he? Okay. So I'm curious, how does it feel to be heard only 60%?
When it's okay since
It's
like
okay.
social normal.
Okay, and back, how does it feel to be told you only heard 60%?
I missed out big time.
Like, hello? When I say strength training is as important for men as it is for women, and then what did you hear?
I didn't hear what you said exactly.
You most
like that,
definitely heard.
because
No, what did you hear me just say now?
just right now.
Yeah.
So what I heard, the training, the strong training is important. Like it's important for women as much as for men, right?
That's very good.
Something like that.
That's very good. And my question is, how does it feel when I say, you heard me very well?
Just it is.
It is.
Just it is.
Well, how about if I said you only got 50%?
It's just it is also.
No feeling involved.
No.
Wow, well, to me it feels great when somebody hears me 100%. Feels terrible when they only hear me 50%. I definitely have a feeling associated with that.
I want to know what I missed.
Yeah, I would want to know what I missed.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like
Oh.
it can.
Okay.
If we can tell it as a feeling, yes, I would like to know, but
Okay.
not like moving something inside.
How do I improve my raw diet? I increase the percentage of whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic fruits. Bone density, I'm going to be strength training, or I'm going to suffer the consequences, because currently in the Western world, more than 75% of all adult women have compromised bone density called osteoporosis. Nobody knows the exact number because not all women have been tested. But of those that even get tested, they're up over 75%. This is essentially, according to Jeff, everybody. And the men are quickly catching up to the women in terms of compromised bone density. The lifestyle of the Western world does not support bone health. And so they all have compromised bone density. So we raw fooders don't have to worry if We were raised as raw fooders. How many people in the room were raised on 80-10-10 since childbirth? Right? Like, no. How many? If I count myself lucky that I survived my childhood. Like, it really, like, if I was a dog or a cat, I would have died. I couldn't go that astray from a healthy lifestyle and survive. It's a tribute to how incredible human beings are put together. But which would you rather have? $150 million or 60 million? That's a hard question.
Very hard question.
Ask somebody else. Which would you rather have, $150 million
I
or
just
60
don't love
million?
to choose. Just give me the best you can.
Does anybody want other than 150? You only want the 60? 150. And how many years out of your life would you rather be healthy? 150 or 60?
150.
Okay, I'm not looking to live long. I won't say it like I want the longest life possible. I want the healthiest life possible for as long as possible. Okay. People say, oh, you want to live long? No. I want to be healthy. I want to feel young for as old as I can get. Okay? And the average person's getting, by the time they're, I read an article this morning about a guy who's getting tired of watching all of his friends grow old. All his childhood friends are growing old. And he just thought, it's a really horrible thing watching all his friends grow old. He's 50. He's 50. I was in a swimming pool recently, and I'm swimming laps, and there's two guys in the lane next to me just standing there talking. And when I finally finished my, whatever it was, 1,500 meters or something, I finally finished, and I just like luxuriating, and I heard them talking, and they were talking about getting old. And they're going, yeah, I'm really just way too old to do this and that and the next thing, and I just can't do it anymore. And the one guy was 30, and the other guy was 35. And they're just going, I'm too old. I can't do what I used to do. And I'm going like, oh, what planet am I on? Like, I want to be heard 100%. 100% of the time. And does anybody know how to get better at hearing? There's a secret. Do you know how you get better at hearing?
Be present.
That's the one who said it. Thank you, Jeff. It's like everything else, isn't it? You get better through practice. Frequent and rapid detection and correction. So, how do you get better at eating raw food? It's just all the same stuff. People look at me and I go, hopefully you heard everything I said for the whole night, and you can tell me all what it was all about. You can give a synopsis of the whole 2 hours. That's a skill. It takes a ton of practice. I went to these meetings. I go with Shari. We go to these meetings. Practice hearing. And then give a synopsis an hour and a half later of what we heard. And 6 people give 6 different synopses. And they're all, I go, yeah, I heard that. It didn't register. Oh, that didn't register. Oh, I missed so much. I heard it, but it didn't. It takes practice. How many people enjoy the clarity of mind that comes with raw food? Like, it's profound clarity with raw food. I'd like mine to continue getting better. I love raising my awareness through practice. It happens. Without practice, stuff goes away. Strength goes away without practice. Balance goes away without practice. Foreign languages go away without practice. Just practice. Okay, well, we're doing questions. We're having fun. I'll take. You have time for a few more?
Well, I'm not gonna stop this. This is really cool. So if it's going over, that's perfect.
Oh, well, we started a bit late too.
Yeah. Let's
come on.
Let's just keep going, as long as you want, bro. By the way, if you want to take stories, it's welcome. Can tag obviously Doug, myself at Alex E. Limber, and the Raw Temple also, and any of the raw food celebrities around here. Questions? Oh.
It's a short one. It's about the sleeping again. I was curious how much hours sleep does your daughter need now when she's like 20 years old?
All she can get.
Yeah.
She's got horses who think that they're more important than her sleep.
Ah.
Or she would sleep more than she does, probably. And like every teenager going through that second growth spurt is very demanding. It's easy to tell when a person is growing, their need for sleep increases. So in the first few months of life, babies grow more than any other time in life and sleep the most. Between ages around 6 to 8, there's a little growth spurt and they sleep more then. And then the secondary growth spurt comes in the early teens. And sleep is like, wow, there's just not enough sleep in the day. Now, in my family, well, pretty much wherever I go, I'm the last one to go to bed and the first one to get up. Or something is unusual going on. But usually I'm the last one to go to bed, first one up. But nowadays, Francesca, she's trying to be the last one to go to sleep. I'm usually up well before her, but I don't know. She's probably sleeping 7 or 8 hours. She's probably sleeping close to 7 or 8 hours. Somewhere in there. Whereas I'm doing like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And happy. I mean, I wake up and it's just like, let's go.
Amazing.
There's none of this like, yeah, after coffee and a shower and maybe something else. And then, no, it's just like fast asleep, eyes open, go. I'm ready to hit it.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I would sleep more, but I just can't even seem to figure out how.
So, Dr. Graham, I think I heard you say that practice with 80-10-10. Is that correct?
Yeah, the way I think what I said was the way to get better at eating raw food is practice eating raw food.
Okay, so part 2 then is, let's say I'm reading the book and I'm practicing and I fall off the wagon, I get back on, and I'm like, I really don't understand how to calculate my calories. So do I just continue to practice until I get better and better and better at it?
I think I read the book and I'm eating 80-10-10, but I don't understand how to calculate my calories.
Yes.
So do I just keep doing it and hope that it's going to happen and until I get better at it?
100%.
Thanks. I have a question. By I don't understand how to calculate my calories. Do you mean how many calories I'm taking in or my ratio of protein to fat and carbohydrate?
Both.
I don't know how to regulate any of that.
Yeah, I'm so confused.
Okay. So when I'm eating more calories than I need, I'm gaining weight. And when I'm eating fewer calories than I need, I'm losing weight. Bathroom scale will pretty much tell you all you need to know, or whatever clothes used to be tight will tell you if they get too tight or too loose. So total calories, bathroom scale, will tell you enough. In terms of caloric-nutrient ratio, it's pretty easy actually. It's pretty easy actually when the diet is comprised of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, predominated by fruit and vegetables in about equal volume. And when I say that, I'm using kitchen definitions. So for me, tomatoes and cucumbers is a vegetable meal. Even though I know it's fruit botanically, I'm not trying to get confused or be confusing. But anybody here from the States? Turns out that really, is there people who can't raise your hand? Just raise your hand, show me. I'm only playing. It turns out that in the States, in different parts of the States, they have different words for the same thing. So a salad means one thing in England, and a salad means a different thing in the States. And greens means something in the South different than it means in the rest of the States, or what it would ever mean to somebody in Europe. And people kept trying to pin me down and get more and more precise, which I'm happy for the precision. But they wanted precision using their word. And then that word would go spread around the world. I don't know, social media or whatever it was. So an example of that would be like, human beings are designed to eat somewheres around 10% of our total calories from fat. When fat consumption goes up over 20%, predictable health decline happens. When it goes down the other way, approaching zero, predictable health decline happens. Fortunately, human food, fruits and vegetables, gives you about 6 to 7% of the calories from fat to begin with. So in order to get down lower than 6 or 7, it means you have to start eating nothing but like protein powder and Domino's sugar, like refined sugar. When I'm eating fruits and veg, I'm getting 5 or 6 or 7% of my calories from fat. So one way to know is just look at the food I eat and then just go, well, if I'm eating fruits and vegetables, I've got my caloronutrient right. When I'm eating fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, I need some kind of guideline. So the easiest guideline is nuts and seeds happen at a maximum of once a day. I save that for my last meal of the day and go, okay, I'll use those nuts and seeds in a dressing, or I'll use them in a salad, that kind of thing. Oh, hello. I'm of the opinion that cows never measure their caloronutrient ratio or their total calorie intake, or that pretty much squirrels or anybody else ever worries about that stuff. The deer just eats food. Does it take a little bit of time letting go of the old and taking on the new mindset of, wow, you know what? I don't have to actually worry about that stuff at all. I just have to eat fruits and vegetables, and health happens automatically all by itself, at least the part that's food related. There's lots of health that has nothing to do with food, and food simply only answers certain parts of the health equation. There's parts of that equation that food isn't the answer. So if you're going to take a test and somebody's going to ask you for numbers, well, you're going to have to do some book work. And I did all the book work, and my background is nutrition. And as a chiropractor, I could specialize in nutrition while I went through school, which was great. I didn't know it was going to come in handy. It was just interesting. I never in a million years thought people were going to ask me about my lifestyle. That's a shocker. So I don't know if that answers the question even at all, but the odd thing is when I was maybe 25 years old, I saw a TV show that was just weird science or something. And what they did is they showed the way that people ate all around the world. And sometimes stuff just sticks with me. I have no idea why, but sometimes stuff just sticks. And the guy, I remember they showed like these Aborigines, and they were had a spider on a stick over an open fire, and they were crunching on the spider. And they showed these kids in the, I want to say in the Philippines, but they were somewhere out in the Far East, and they closed school because the locusts came, and the kids all went outside and just started grabbing locusts out of the sky and eating them like popcorn. They closed school because it was a feast for the kids to go eat the bugs. And they showed a couple other things. There was people eating live fish and stuff. I mean, it was pretty, well, I guess it was graphic enough so I remember it 40 years later. But what the announcer said is what stuck. And he said that take anybody, put them anywhere in the world on any diet, and after about 2 years of just that diet, they'll defend it as the best diet. They'll completely switch and defend it as the best. Whereas at first it might be abhorrent or terrible or unappetizing or whatever else. After 2 years of just eating that, they'll think it's like the best diet ever, and they'll defend it. People are funny, and they'll defend whatever diet it is. Now, so maybe that's just the truth here with 80-10-10. How many people think that's the truth here with 80-10-10? Is it just that, or is it actually the best diet? Me, I think it's actually the best diet. I think it's the diet designed for human beings, and all the science and all the sense says so. Like fruits and vegetables are people food. And that's just the way it is. Anything less than fruits and vegetables. Well, Shari said it today. We went to a restaurant, and the food being served was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous and unrecognizable. I honestly don't know what they did or how they did it, but it didn't look like fruits or vegetables. Now, what was the exact word you said? You said it just didn't look like food. I think you said it didn't look like food, or it was like, I don't recognize it. It was sort of weird. Like, to me now, the only thing that looks like food is fruits and vegetables. Anything else it's not food. I differentiate food from things that are edible, but they're not food. And that stuff just didn't look like food anymore. It's just, I know people can eat it. Not me.
This is more of a personal question, just out of curiosity, because I see a pattern of you.
No, I'm married. Sorry.
I see a pattern that you go against typical of what everything was ever taught. What gave you the courage to be so public about that, and like that you're being able to be super certain? Like, were you suffering in your past before, or you really, like, what made you want to help people with the truth? Like, was there a moment?
Yes. First, I have experienced great frustration in my life when I'm in a room of people and one of them is being obstinate just for the sake of being obstinate. I hope I'm never considered one of those people. So I get no pleasure in going against, as I think I heard. So I'm not intentionally saying, hey, let me see what I can go against. Although I do have a t-shirt that I designed that says, observe the masses, do the opposite. Okay. So I guess maybe a little bit of me is in that direction. But what happened was a story I rarely tell, which was I was 16 years old and I was out at the beach. I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so I was a mile from the beach. And I went to the beach and was staring out at the horizon, which is one of my all-time favorite things to do. Always has been. I'm enamored by a horizon. Spent a lot of time on boats, a lot of horizons, and I just love the horizon. So I was out I just went to the beach to go look at the horizon. And I'm looking at the horizon, having a nice time. And I had what's called a Abraham and the burning bush experience. And I guess this is my second reference to Bob Dylan today, but Bob Dylan wrote a song about that called Highway 41. Ooh, Highway 61? Highway 61. Sorry. Allman Brothers did Highway 41. He did Highway 61. And essentially what happened was I'm standing there looking out at the horizon and I heard a sound in my head. I'm willing to bet money that were you standing next to me, you would not have heard the sound. I heard it. And it sounded like a booming voice coming out of the sky, like thunder, that loud. But I think was Alex standing next to me at the time, he would not have heard it. It was just in my head, somehow, like it was directed to me. And the word, I heard one word, and the word was health. And I did what any self-respecting 16-year-old would do, and I turned my back and started walking up the beach. And then again, from in front of me out of the sky came the word health. And realizing there was nowhere to turn, I dedicated the rest of my life to health, right then and there. It's what I'm here for. And I openly admit I did get a little distracted in college. But other than that, it's a dedication to health, and it's unswerving, and it's with a high motivation that I can be a force for good in the world. As insignificant as I am, as insignificant as this world is, as insignificant as our galaxy is, and all the rest, I can be a force for good in this world for humans and all the animals and the environment as well. That's my mission. It's why I'm here. I've suffered or experienced at least a dozen near-death experiences and didn't die from any of them as far as I know. And it's because I'm supposed to be here doing what I'm doing.
Thanks. It sounds very spiritual, and I respect that you're very non-conformist. So that's why I'm very interested.
My intention is to become very conformist. My intention is a vegan world where raw fooders predominate. My intention is going into a grocery store and there's a mango aisle and there's a celery aisle and there's a papaya aisle and there's a durian aisle and there's 20 or 40 aisles of fruit. And depending upon what part of the world you're in, maybe there's an aisle of toilet paper because they haven't heard of a bidet yet. But basically, grocery stores are just fruit and veg, and that's all there is. it'll be a better world. In my opinion, it'll be a better world the more raw foodists there are. So in that sense, I'd like everybody to follow, in which case that would make me a conformist again. But no, for me, truth is critically important. And when I see things, I have to stand up. I have to stand up for the truth, which sometimes means I'm going to get ridiculed, and some people hate me, and some people, that's just how it is. I'm willing to expose myself to that.
Thank you.
Sure. So, Mike's moving around. Go.
Hello again.
Hi.
So maybe in this room I am the only person who just came without knowing who you are, and I haven't read your book.
That's okay. I didn't know who you
Right?
were either.
That's amazing. Because sometimes I'm like, okay, when people talk about the book, I don't know about this book, but I'm just here to stay here with this openness and to understand and to, explore this path. And obviously, if I'm here, there's a call that brought me to here, to this space. So I just want to share that last week, in one point, I had this vision. I never experienced a raw vegan life, by the way. I'm just, I've been vegan for a while, but I never really explored this raw vegan diet.
Gets old.
Yeah. And so because I grew up in this rich food culture in Turkey, and like for us...
I was just in Turkey last week.
Ah, really?
I spent a week in Turkey doing a presentation on osteoporosis.
Amazing. I'm happy that you brought this energy there.
It was great. It was great in Turkey.
But so, like in our culture, the food and feeding the people, it's all about food and all about feeding, cooking. It's such a nourishing way of expression and creativity and all these things. So when I grow up with this knowledge, I just feel like I love cooking a lot. I love the smell and all these things. But last week there were one moment when he was in Vipassana, I had this vision what if I try to live my life in a raw vegan diet way? And I was like, okay, maybe I can try. I can open myself. And then yesterday when I was cooking something, I was like, I love cooking. I love just having the smell and this taste. So, there is this two part of me, and I would like to experience that, but I can see one kind of, sound in there, it feels like letting go of some things in my life what I love to do, about cooking. But maybe it's just because of I don't know how to prepare raw vegan foods, and maybe I need to find out. So what could be your recommendation in this case, to give a recommendation to someone in this path, just in this baby steps of this journey?
This question is so rich. Thank you for this question. First of all, Shari and I are, with Naida's help, are putting on a retreat for the next 9 days, starting Sunday, where we could teach you how to have vitality in paradise. I mean, that's the name of the darn thing. We teach the raw vegan lifestyle. But you touched on so much. It's really rich. Thank you. Tell me your first name.
Damla.
Damla. Wow, fantastic. So the first picture I had was, I have back in the day, this might be before, you might not even understand what I'm saying. I used to do presentations using an overhead projector. Do you know what an overhead projector even is?
I have an idea.
Have an idea? Well, I did it with, so it was basically slideshow, but with an overhead projector of the slide. And the slide was a man fully dressed, underwater, going down, straight down, because he's holding on to a big rock. And he's going down fast, and there's bubbles coming out of his mouth, and one of the bubbles has his words. And he goes, my rock, I love my rock. I can't live without my rock. Well, he's going to die holding on to that rock. It's taking him down to the bottom of the ocean. All right? But his opinion is he can't live without his rock. I love cooked food. It tastes great. It doesn't love me at all. It hates me, it hurts me, it harms me. How long would you stay with a man who hurt you, harmed you, didn't love you, but you just loved him? When he beat you up every night and punched you in the belly, how long would you stay with that guy? You'd leave him even if there wasn't another guy in the background. In this case, I'm not like doing without food. I'm just switching from food that doesn't love me to food that loves me fantastically. It loves me as much or maybe even more than I love myself. So it was an easy transition. Really an easy transition. Oh, did I have to take out the garbage? Yeah. Did being a leader in the raw food movement help me by making me stay responsible? Because I have to answer, I'm in front of the stage every day, right? So yeah, that was probably an advantage to me, or I used it to my advantage that I stayed in the public eye. Did staying competitive in sport work to my advantage? Yeah, because raw food helps me stay competitive in sport to the point where I could win the powerlifting world championships 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. And on through that, there's things that work to my advantage in that regard, but I can help anybody succeed with raw food. All it takes is practice. It takes practice to overcome whatever you have behind you, to put something new. Just takes practice. Like changing your favorite TV show to some other show back when that used to be part of life, right? Or favorite activity, oh, I just tried a new activity, or try, I mean, until you've had a fruit called a mombin, you don't even know if you like mombin. But mombin might become your new favorite fruit, or any number of other things might become your new favorite food. Without ever trying them, you don't have a chance. So I didn't get to a point like, oh, now I hate cooked food. No, I know cooked food tastes fantastic. I don't have the heart to eat dead animals. I mean, that's not part of who I am anymore. But I also love myself a lot more than I used to, and I'm not willing to intentionally do myself harm with my food or my word choices or my thought processes or my private practices. My full heart's intention is raising my awareness every day, all the time. I love growing. Is growing work? Is growing effort? Oh, sometimes. Sometimes. Anybody know where greatness is? I can tell. Greatness is outside the comfort zone. Anytime you're comfortable, it ain't greatness. The big money is outside the comfort zone. The big accomplishments is outside the comfort zone. People look at high achievers doing something in sport or finance or some other part of the world, some ethical, social, moral, some aspect of the world, and we go, look at what this person has done. Well, they didn't do it by staying comfortable. They went well outside the comfort zone. I make a point to get outside my comfort zone as much of every day as I possibly can. That's where the greatness is. and I got a lot of work to do. So far, I haven't quite succeeded on this vegan world thing. There's a little bit more to go. But I look at this and I go, oh, it's mushrooming. I look at the course. I teach a course for other people who want to teach 80-10-10. And I'm watching that grow. So there's a legacy being left behind. I look at Shari coming in. I used to take such ridicule in the raw movement. People would blackball me from attending raw events because I was bad for their business. And they would convince event organizers, look, we'll give you $5,000. Don't have Dr. Graham come speak because he's bad for our supplement business. Because I'm up on stage going, well, if I'm selling you an ideal diet, then I have no business selling you supplements. There's no need for supplements. But if I'm up here selling you supplements, I'm telling you that the diet I'm promoting is less than ideal. It requires supplementation. And they didn't like that at all because their living was, I mean, I'm selling education and they're selling supplements. And it's just a whole nother world. And getting blackballed didn't really feel good from within the raw movement. Not my idea of a good time. And yet, it was a pat on the back, just telling me, hey, you're having an effect, Doug. People are noticing. And it's just, for me, it's just a strong mission. I want to see healthy people because I'm greedy. I think I got to watch great sports and great arts and great theater and great stuff. And I think that all of those people would have been better on 80-10-10. All of them. Michael Jordan would have played better basketball. And Mickey Mantle would have played better baseball. And whatever, Theodore Bickel would have been a better actor. And on through all that stuff, people would have been better on a raw food diet. And there was times when the raw food movement didn't want anything to do with the 80-10-10 movement. And there was a big raw food movement. And it died. It completely died. There used to be 10 raw food events in the world 25 years ago. And it just nosedived as unsustainable. And out of the ashes of that came the fruitarian, the frugivore, the 80-10-10, the fruit festivals. Nobody talks about raw festivals anymore. You don't even hear about it. It used to be Portland Raw, San Francisco Raw, New York City Raw, Atlanta Raw. No, there's no more raw. That doesn't happen anymore. Now it's all fruit festivals. That grew up showing itself as sustainable. Whereas the other one was just, well, when the raw movements really started gaining some traction in the late 90s, for the second time in history, because it also did so in the late 90s of the 1800s, there was more than 1,000 people in Chicago, which was a city of less than 50,000. There was more than 1,000 people that were members of the Raw Food Organization of Chicago in the 1890s. And in order to squash that and keep people sick, the idea of germs was introduced and said, let's just cook everything to save you from germs. And all they said was germs. All of a sudden we started cooking lettuce, man. People were cooking everything. But now the raw food movement comes back. So back in the 90s and the raw food movement was growing, an opportunity I felt for me to finally talk to the scientists of the world and say, hey, look at this. So I was a member of what was called the IVU, the International Vegetarian Union Science Board. More than 1,000 scientists around the world who were part of this IVU Science Board. And now that it was the 90s, we could actually communicate via computers. It was awesome. And I quoted a couple of raw food things and said, isn't this time to like open up a conversation about raw food amongst all these vegetarians and vegan scientists? And what they wrote back to me was venomous. They go, you mean a diet of stimulants and irritants? That'll never fly. And then other ones said, you mean a diet of fat and grass? That can't work. And then somebody else wrote, you mean just like supplements and irritants? That can't work. I'm going, no. I meant fruits and vegetables. I meant fruits. Man, they were so turned against it. I couldn't even get it started. Now, fruits and vegetables makes a lot of sense to scientists. Have you heard fruits and vegetables are good for you? There's actually people out there saying fruits and vegetables are good for you now. What they told me was fruits and vegetables are good for you, but you can't eat just fruits and vegetables. What do you want? Do you want what's best for you all the time, or do you want second, third, fourth, and fifth best some of the time? I want the best for me all the time. If I went to school, from grammar school on, I learned fruits and vegetables are the best for human beings. Anybody ever learn anything different in school other than fruits and vegetables are health food, fruits and vegetables are the best for humans? That's how it is. Oh, and I had raw food leaders saying, Doug, fruits and vegetables are good for you, but you can't eat just fruits and vegetables. Watch me. None of those people are part of the raw movement anymore. I won't even name their names. None of them are involved in raw movement anymore. They all came and went. They proved that their programs were unsustainable. I've proved mine is very sustainable. Been doing the same diet for about almost 40 years now, more than 35 years. Just the same diet. Is that boring? No, I still sleep every night too, and I still am active every day, and none of that's boring either. I get as excited over this coconut as having dinner with Jeff last night. Oh man, it was such a wild and crazy meal. Huh? We just opened durian and ate them until we were full. Like one food more than does the job. Shari and I sat on the front steps of a hotel last summer with two dear friends, right, with Robbie and Justin, and who said, Doug Graham and Shari Leiterman have come to Miami. They never do that. We're going to bring them the best mango Miami has to offer. And we just sat on the front porch of a hotel and ate mango until we were popping. I mean, it was silly. And they just said, oh, have you tried this one? Have you tried this one? And they said, these are the best I could get. Don't tell anybody I gave you these. It was crazy good mango. It's the best mango in the world is Miami, Florida. And it was insane mango. But they didn't need to do anything to it or add anything to it. It's just as is. And it was exciting and delicious and fantastic. And I never questioned for a second, was it people food or was I missing out on something? Or do I need to track my calories? Or just eat till I'm full. One food at a time when I'm hungry till I'm full. Nature will provide all the variety that I need. Every month it's different. Let's go. Couple more?
Can I have a quick question?
Please.
So I love fruit, and so for me it's easy to have a fruity diet. But I also know people that say, yeah, but I'm more savory. I like salty food. I'm not really keen on fruit, or if I eat too much fruit, I feel like almost nauseous. Or how does it work? Do you think it's a detox that needs to be happening, or like they need to get rid of the sodium in their bodies before they can eat more fruits? Or is it really some people just, they don't like fruit, so you cannot push them this diet, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That's a great question. Babies typically are born with no teeth, and they start getting teeth pretty early. Occasionally they're born with a couple of teeth, but they're usually born with no teeth. And that first set of teeth that comes in, which we might lovingly call baby teeth, they have a name. You know the name for those baby teeth?
Not in English, no.
Or in any language?
Yeah, in the Netherlands I used to know, but
Anybody know what those teeth
milk
are called?
Milk teeth.
Correct. They're called milk teeth. How come?
Because they grow on milk. No, I don't know.
Because that's the only food the baby's having is
Yeah.
milk.
Yeah,
Like, it's almost a joke because you don't really need teeth for milk.
exactly.
Okay. And at some point, milk becomes abhorrent to the baby because they stop producing the enzyme that allows them to digest the milk. Right? They stop producing lactase, and they can no longer digest the lactose. And when they drink milk, it gives them a stomach ache. And then they go, I don't want to breastfeed anymore. Okay? When that happens and the production of lactase drops and then stops, something else happens as well. The milk teeth fall out. And they are replaced by a second set of teeth. And what are they called? Everybody's got them.
Wisdom teeth? No, that's the other one. No.
They're called sweet teeth.
Ah.
Has anybody ever tried to control their sweet tooth? Tell me you haven't heard of a sweet tooth. Okay. That's what the second set of teeth are called. They're called sweet teeth. And I love the people who tell me, I'm trying to keep my sweet tooth under control. You know, like, yeah, and tell me you're also not going to urinate ever again, or you're going to keep gravity under control or something. Like, this is part of human nature. We have a sweet tooth. We are driven towards sweets. Sweets are what I taste on the tip of my tongue. It's the reason babies put things in their mouth, is to find out if it's sweet or not. It's not to explore their world. They can explore their world with their eyes and their hands. Their mouth isn't that sensitive to exploring things. They want to know, is it sweet? Is it food? So we as a species, the human species, is put here for consumption of sweets for the purpose of fulfilling our biologic role, what's called a symbiotic role in nature of being of being seed spreaders.
Yeah.
Okay? So as seed spreaders, the way we do that is we eat the fruit and either drop the seed or eat the seed and then poop it out later. Either way, it's seed spreading. And which brings us kind of to a reason that there are 5 different food cravings. 5 different food cravings, 4 of them have to do with fruit. So, have you ever craved something sweet at the end of a meal? Show of hands. All that tells you is you didn't eat enough fruit at the beginning of the meal. Have you ever craved something sweet in between meals? Tells you didn't have enough fruit at the last meal. Have you ever looked around for something really heavy and rich at the end of the meal? It tells you didn't eat enough fruit at the start of the meal. And if you make that adaptation, that craving will disappear. Have you ever looked at paste, wallpaper paste, and thought, that looks good? Oh no? Doug, give us an example. What are you talking about? Oh, well, in Italy, what do they call wallpaper paste in Italy, Nida? Oh, pasta. They totally changed the paste to pasta. I would never have recognized it as the same thing. And what do they do? What do they call it in France? Pastry. They added sugar and turned it into pastry. Patisserie. Pastel in Spanish. They've hit it so much, right? Like, it's paste. Anytime paste looks like food, you have not eaten enough fruit. For me, I've certainly not eaten enough fruit if I'm starting to think bread, rice, pasta, corn, potatoes, oats, or any variation thereof is food, because that is not food. According to the best scientists in the world, that is not food. Food for humans is rich in vitamin C. So, I mean, it already can't be food. If at any time I'm craving starchy food, I'm not eating enough fruit. So there's your first 4 cravings to answer the question. The 5th craving, and that's all there are, the 5th craving is craving for salt. When I crave salt...
Greens.
Thanks. Who said it? Yeah. Greens. If I haven't been eating enough vegetables, anytime I don't eat enough vegetables, I'm going to crave salt. That hasn't happened to me yet on this diet, ever. I enjoy eating greens. I enjoy eating salad. I enjoy eating cucumber and tomato and peppers and okra and eggplant and zucchini. Those are the 6 vegetables that are technically not green, but still count as veggies and work as greens. All of them will give me the minerals. I love my celery, love lettuce. And anytime I say, oh man, I really want salty, something salty, it's just telling me I haven't been eating enough salad, I haven't been eating enough vegetables. Now, for the people who say they don't like fruit, they're addicted to starch. Guarantee it. I'll guarantee it. They're addicted to starch. Because somehow or another, human beings have to have carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are so important to the human being. Have you ever heard of essential things in the diet? I mean,
The essential amino acids.
oh,
for
like
example.
essential amino acids, right? They're so important that you've got to get them from a food because the body doesn't manufacture them. They're essential in our diet. And then there's another kind of essential. What's that? What's the other one's called? Another acid.
Oils.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Fatty acids.
Yeah, omega.
Essential fatty acids. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Those fatty acids. And they're so critical to our health, but the body doesn't make them. And so they're called essential. We got to get it out of our diet. Now, essential has this professional meaning in nutrition. It's essential. I must get it from my diet. As opposed to it's essential in lay terminology, just meaning it's really important. And people come up to me once in a while and go, Dr. Graham, you're talking about all this fruit and saying carbohydrate, body's built for 80+% of calories coming from carbohydrate. You're saying carbohydrates are so important. But if carbohydrates are really that important, how come there's no essential carbohydrates?
The carnivore people says it's not essential with veggies and fruits. We could just live on meat. I mean, that's what they say. So they're not essential because we get the minerals and vitamins because we don't need them.
Okay, that's close.
Okay.
That's close enough to. Can I restate that?
Please.
So the reason there are no essential carbohydrates is because that would leave a human being open to dying off from lack of carbohydrates. The body can convert anything into carbohydrate. Now, essential amino acids, there's essential amino acids. My body can't make them. I must eat them. There's essential fatty acids. My body can't make them. I must consume them. Carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, glucose and fructose, my body can make them from anything. It can make them, I could live on protein powder and convert it into carbohydrate. I could live on oil out of a bottle and my body could convert that into carbohydrate. There's no, nature did not leave this open to getting wrong. Gave us no choice. Our bodies will make glucose and fructose no matter what, because every cell of the body is fueled by glucose and fructose. This was not open to conversation. This was not open to any kind of negotiation. It's like, no, man, we run on carbohydrates and your body will make carbohydrates. My body will make carbohydrates no matter what I eat. Now, there's ways that it's more efficient at making carbohydrates and there's ways it's less efficient. The most efficient is to, well, the most efficient was proven recently by a guy named Oscar. Oscar is a nutritionist in the world of professional bicycling, and he just did a $10 million study to try to help, well, for the purpose of helping cyclists perform better in Tour de France rides. These are rides that are 6, 8, 10, 12 hours long, blowing through 14, 16,000 calories in an afternoon of riding. They can't take in enough fuel to finish the ride at the intensity that they're fit enough to ride. When I'm doing cardio, my digestive abilities go down, and so the average Tour de France rider can only consume about 200 to 300 calories an hour, while they're blowing through 900 calories an hour, and they eventually get to what's known in the world of biking as bonking. In runners, they call it hitting the wall. You run out of carbohydrate availability. Now the body has to start manufacturing carbohydrate from fat. It's a slow, tedious process. It's not very good compared to world-class cycling. So Oscar spent $10 million of somebody else's money in order to come up with a supplement, a special formula supplement that would allow Tour de France riders to be able to consume almost 500 calories an hour instead of 250. What a difference. This is a boon to the world of cycling and all ultra endurance sports. And what was his special formula that it took $10 million to come up with? They called it a unique blend of glucose and fructose. He could have just given him fruit, which is, I coached the Norwegian bicycling team back in 1990 for their nutrition. I just said, eat fruit, man. You guys will do great. I know you're Norwegian, like you're never going to be a world power, but at least you can get fuel. We just gave them fruit. They could do just fine on that. Absolutely fine. But no, for $10 million, he could isolate glucose and fructose and turn it into a little something that nowadays we think of as a gel and he could sell that. Well, I can make gel out of fruit easy enough. It was just, it took $10 million. Very creative way to go about it. But they've already proven beyond shadow of a doubt, the scientists know that human beings perform their best, feel their best, do their best in every way, eating fruit, eating glucose and fructose. So that's the easiest way to get the carbs, is just eat them. Then there's no distillery required. I don't have to manufacture glucose from something else, which is very labor intensive. It's a lot easier to just eat fruit and instantly have glucose.
While I'm holding this mic, can I ask a quick question?
I don't know. Let's vote on that. Can you ask one more? Yeah, go.
Yes, no.
And
How do you actually tie this? This is a personal question, obviously. I'm a single guy. I find this really hard to date and have a social life and find the perfect fit in a partner, because there will be issues, and it's really never going to align. It's hard to convert people over to the side.
my answer?
Well, yeah.
My answer is raise your standards and define the woman a little more accurately. And she'll just appear.
Do you know anyone?
Yeah. They're going to be at the retreat, actually. They're going to be at my retreat. But honestly, anybody with that issue, I've coached 4 women so far who said their father said, lower your standards to their own daughter. And I was like, don't let me meet your dad because I'm going to hurt him. Like, raise your standards. Raise your standards. They're easy to meet. They're everywhere. Women take so much better care of themselves than men. Like, they're everywhere. Health conscious women. They're looking for you, man. They're desperate.
Okay, I like men.
Well, it's harder to find men. But even for the women, I say raise your standards. You know, the men are out there, but really be precise what you're looking for. And to be quite honest, I don't think it's about diet. Like, my diet doesn't define who I am. I'm like an honest person. I'm an aware person. I'm a very industrious person. I'm going to say I'm a good person. Those are who I am. I don't say, well, my race, religion, or creed. I don't talk about what color I am, or what. Those aren't things of who I am. That's just like what I eat.
Gay people love to party and eat protein, a lot of protein.
Fine. So does everybody else. But there can't only be just one. Like, you're the only you in the whole world. I'm the only me in the whole world. But there's tons of people looking for people. I know for a fact, the more I define what I'm looking for, the more likely I am to find it, rather than just, no, that's not it. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. You ever take somebody out for a meal? Hey, what do you want? Well, I don't want Chinese, and I don't want, like, no, just tell me what you do want. You define what you want. It's there. It'll just like, ooh, oh, there it is.
So I'm still on that journey of raw, and I'm falling back.
Me too. No falling back.
I think one of the struggles is, while I'm now in Bali, it's much easier. I eat fruits and all of that's just fine. But my question is, about the cold climate. I love fruits, but when it's too cold, and of course the body temperature drops.
So, questions about climate, cold climates, and of course did I hear? And of course the body temperature drops. Okay, so the body temperature.
No, that's me. Like
Body
by
temperature
nature.
doesn't drop, but my body temperature stays. It doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna start again with the question before the answer. Hey Jeff, I got a question. What do polar bears eat? Okay, could we just say polar bear food? Polar bears eat polar bear food. Great. And I was up there, way up north, and there was a polar bear, and it was an orphan. And I took mercy on its soul, and I brought it home with me and raised it as an orphan polar bear down there in San Diego. What would I feed it in San Diego where it's so hot all the time? Oh, polar bear food still? Really? And when I took it to Morocco with me for a little field trip, polar bear food. And how about the goldfish? What's the goldfish eat? And when you move down to Rio de Janeiro, what do you feed the goldfish? Spanish goldfish food. And then you went up to Moscow? Goldfish food. Like, what do people eat? Fruits and vegetables. That's it, man. That's people food. Now, had you asked the question, when it gets really cold, where do you live where it's really cold?
I'm in Melbourne.
Yeah, when it's really cold in Melbourne, I have to live out on the city streets, and I sit on the corner in the cold and the howling wind in the nighttime, and it's going down into the -3 and -7, and it's getting so cold. And I have to eat out on the street, and I'm trying to eat this apple, but it froze solid. Well, then I'd have mercy on your soul. But my guess is that even when it's cold outside, you're eating inside.
Yes.
Oh. And you're not naked out on the street. You're inside wearing clothing. So we have 3 ways of creating this tropical environment that we all appreciate here. We got clothing, we got bedding, and we've got artificial heat. And you got all those things working for you in
Yes.
Melbourne. So it's not the first time I've heard the question. People say, well, it's all well and good eating cold food in the summer, but in the winter I can't eat cold food. Right, like you don't eat ice cream in the winter and you don't drink cold beer in the winter. But wouldn't that also mean that you wouldn't have a barbecue in the summer because it's hot and you wouldn't want to eat hot food in the summer? But people barbecue all summer long down in Melbourne. So both ways, the question doesn't really add up. Does it take some getting used to? Yes. Are there methods to sort of defray the edge? Yeah, like in the wintertime, I take my dinner, my vegetable salad, I take it out of the fridge at noontime.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so now it's not cold. By the time I eat it, it's room temp. That's a whole nother world of salad. It's not ice cold. I know how to even warm things up a little bit if I want to. I could take tomatoes and blend them with some celery and put it in a pot and stir with my hand. By the time it's uncomfortable to my hand, that's enough, but it's plenty warm to my taste. I don't do that, but I know how to do that. But you could do that with almost anything and warm it up a little bit without cooking it. You can still warm it a little and have pleasantly warm. I could add another layer of clothing. I could move around for 3 or 4 minutes before I sit down to eat, and it would enhance my digestion, and I'd be a little warmer. And you could use I could use a dehydrator.
Yeah.
Right. So there's lots of ways to defray
Great
that.
tips. I think I was
cold.
literally looking for those tips.
Okay.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Folks, whatever you say. No, I've got a drink. You have something to say, Shar? You want to add a few words? How about like from the most in-demand raw chef in the world. She's going to make us food that is outrageous. Oh, does it have to be fancy? Does it have to be gourmet? Or is it automatically gourmet? Did we have a gourmet meal last night?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, that was six durian. That was awesome. We had the same question the other day, young lady, about cold being in the climate. So, tips and tricks and nuances. Take out your dehydrator, use your blender, use it more often. There's things called like a cocoa mocha maker that doesn't boil or cook, it just warms. So you have lots of options. Not the oven. I don't think any oven goes low enough.
I think I'm not planning. I'm going into my like fruit salad, what we call it, and it's like so cold, and then I don't feel like eating.
Keep it at room temperature. Absolutely. Well, I think we should talk about the retreat, Naida, unless you guys have chef questions.
I think it's the basic question. Where do you shop for groceries, especially in United States? And where those Miami mango came from? I'm just curious.
Which tree was that? Yeah. For good mangoes in Miami, see Justin Lelia. He'll get you. He's been a client of mine for 25 years. See Justin Lelia. He'll get you good mangoes. No, private guy.
But tell them about the fruit farms down there.
I mean,
Robert.
No, you can. Yeah, but even Roberts won't sell you those mangoes. Robert will sell you great mangoes. I've got a friend who's had a produce store open since 1959. I met him in 61 and we've been friends since then. But he'll sell you great fruit, but not those exceptional. Those exceptional fruit require sourcing. Yeah, you have to find the trees. But he knows how to do that. Justin can do that. I can give you his contact. He's easy to find. Like, I shop at a local produce market that's a street market. So the guy has a store, and then a couple days a week he goes to a street market and sells out on the street, just sells produce on the street. And I went to him, I said, can I buy by the case? He said, yeah, just tell me what you want. So I tell him what I want. 2 days later, I show up at his market, and he's got cases of everything I want, whatever it is, because England imports from more countries than any country in the world. We have incredible access. But the same. In the States, what I've always done for my clients is just say, go to the local distributor, go to the local organic distributor. They'll let you buy by the case. Every city's got organic distributors. Every city in the country.
And then you go on Facebook and you find your groups, and then you source from those groups or friends with other farmers and organic places, and you just make those connections.
The cool thing about connections is you only have to make them once. And once you make a connection, now that's taken care of. That connection exists. I strengthen the connection. Like Chris knows my family. I know his family. I mean, he knows my dog's names. If he has trouble getting to the market because the truck broke down or something, he calls me up and says, Doug, I'm not going to be at the market. Save you a trip. Can I bring it to your house instead? And it's well worth that kind of service because I'm buying $15,000 worth of food from him every year. So he's more than happy to bring it to me once a year. But make that connection, and you are so valuable compared to any other customer whoever you're buying from, that you're their best customer. So
you're going to tell all your friends.
But any grocery store will sell you by the case. What's that health food store you used to work?
Oh, Chuck's?
No, the 7.
Sprouts?
Oh yeah, Sprouts, is that it? Yeah, Sprouts. But any grocery store, any health food store, they'll all sell to you by the case, but some will give you a better discount than others. But I'm paying less than half of grocery store prices to get food that But what? You can get organic. Like, I used to run an event in Seattle, Washington for 20 years, and there was 2 different organic distributors in Seattle, Washington. It's not that big. There's definitely, I know the organic distributor in Manhattan. I know the organic distributor in Miami. There's organic distributors that only distribute organic food. That's all they handle. They don't even touch anything else. And you can go to them and buy by the case.
Are you not going to eat it if it's not organic? Does it have to be 100%? You have no choice.
When you have no choice, you have no choice. But when there's choice, there is organic available. Surprising amount of organic available. Yeah.
I think you should talk about the retreat one more time. And
Well, last year I had the blast of my lifetime doing this retreat in Bali. I've always wanted to come to Bali, and Nida had been working with me for a while. She said, "Wouldn't you love to do a retreat in Bali?" I said, "You have no idea. I didn't even know she had a Bali connection." I said, "You have no idea how much I've wanted to come to Bali my whole life. But I'm not going to organize a retreat in Bali. I'm sorry. I'd be competing against myself. I already run retreats in Costa Rica and in the States, and I can't be like running more retreats. Spain." So I just said, okay. She said, "How about if I organize it and you just show up?" Look at that, I'll do. So I came, and it was really fun. And by the end of it all, I really felt like I wanted to spend more time with the guests, and I just didn't have the time. So I invited 3 of my closest friends, all of whom have been doing 80-10-10 for 2 or 3 decades. I said, "Could you guys come and help me teach the event?" And I knew the answer was no, because one of them owns her own dance studio. One of them's a Hollywood stuntman. He's so busy. One of them's totally committed to her life in Australia. There's just no way they were coming. And they all 3 said yes. And then the videographer we used last year wasn't available this year. So I asked my good friend Raphael Resch, and all of a sudden I've got, like, although it is not a festival, it is a retreat, but I've got 6 presenters who are all 100% aligned with 80-10-10 and have been doing it for 2, 3, and more decades. Plus, somehow, by the grace of God, Shari Leiterman said, "Yes, I'll be your chef." So it was only 13 time zones. Thanks, Shar. And she'd come out, and because nobody makes performance food like Shari Leiterman. She's an athlete herself. She's been doing 80-10-10 since as long as it's existed. And she's also the best. So the retreat is a cultural Bali experience. We'll have some outings and partake of cultural Bali, bring in the dancers and the water ceremonies and all volcano hikes. But every day there's educational component. There's fitness morning and evening. I'll be teaching strength training. We've got stuntmen. We've got professional dancers. And we're just, as far as I know how to bring in the best, it's something that I got gifted with, is I'm pretty good at surrounding myself with people who are better than me. So I got all these people around me that I can look up to and let them teach their part. And then I don't have to worry about it so much. So it's a special event right here in Bali, up north. We're going up north. If it rained last year, I don't even remember it. No rain. It's up north. It don't rain up there so much. Oh, and then in January, from January 24th until March 7th, I'm running a fast in Costa Rica for anybody interested in fasting. See Shari. If anybody has interest in fasting, I'll be running a fast for that whole time. 2 to 3 weeks of fasting, 2 to 3 weeks of recovering from the fast. Teaching the fitness, teaching the lifestyle, teaching the physique development, teaching the performance, teaching the food skills, teaching the kitchen skills, the whole deal. I mean, it's from A to Z. It's a 100-hour educational program from my end. And and it's a full commitment from people. It's a ton of fun. Been doing that since 1980, so had some experience with it. I'm so honored to be here. I thank you all so very much. I'm tickled that you guys are here and seeing this raw community grow in raw Bali. It's a way cool thing. And I hope I get the opportunity to meet each and every one of you.